Right. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Wes Jackson. I'm the director of the Business of Creative Enterprise program, better known as the BCE. And I want to welcome you to the first annual Future of the Creative Industry Conference. We're super excited to bring this to you as we kick it off. And we hope that this conference will be the home for scholars, professionals, and academics, as well as executives, to share, debate, and innovate, as we like to say. I want to thank all of our esteemed panelists, as well as our featured speaker. We really have a great day planned for you. But I want to also particularly thank the team that helped put this together. Paul Pegger, Robin Elkins, Cynthia Tanunu, Mika Leon Perdomo, and and Molly Lockman in School of Com. But I also want to give a special shout out and thank you to our executive producers, Kristen Cowog and Valeria Okondo. These are my student marketing assistants who really have taken lead on this project. So almost everything that you see for the rest of the day will be brought to you led by students. So I know we have some prospective students on here, but I think it's a testament to the strength of Emerson and particularly our program. So well done, everybody. Looking forward to it. But now I want to bring in a special person to introduce our featured guest speaker, our featured guest, our keynote speaker, Bobbi Brown. And to introduce Bobbi, I want to welcome our provost, Ms. Michaela Whalen.
Thank you, Wes. I'm really delighted to welcome Bobbi Brown to Emerson's virtual campus and conference. Bobbi is a double alumna, so she has an undergraduate degree and an honorary degree from Emerson College. I think everyone knows who Bobbi Brown is. She's one of our renowned Emersonians. She's a trailblazer, really in the field of natural beauty. And her brand has spoken to issues of diversity and representation long before others even realized how crucial these areas were. I think Bobbi Brown has been a beacon for entrepreneurs worldwide. And in particular, she's inspiring to women who have ideas and who can persevere in the implementation of those ideas. I would say that she embodies Emersonian values. I think her energy and creativity are extraordinary. She is, I would say, a serial entrepreneur. She is innovative, and I think she brings care for the whole person, which our founder, Charles Wesley Emerson, talked about the holistic self and how important it was for the whole person to be seen. So I am honored to bring Bobbi Brown to our virtual campus and to kick off this inaugural Future of Creative Industry Conference. So please join me in welcoming Bobbi Brown.
Hey guys, thank you so much. And I pressed a button and I'm here and I'm so happy and I wish I was there. So nice to be part of Emerson, and thank you for the great introduction. And Wes, I'm so happy to meet you.
The honor's all mine. The honor's all mine for sure. So yeah, I wish we could have done this in real life, but we are happy to welcome you back. And thanks again so much for helping us kick this off.
Oh, thanks.
So we're going to talk to you, Bob. I'm going to have a chance to kind of build with you for a minute, Bobbi, and then we're going to open it up to questions, of which Robin's going to moderate for us. So folks, if you have questions for Bobbi, you can put them in the Q&A and then Robin will ask them once we're done. But Bobbi, I just kind of want to jump into it, thinking about Emerson. If you can kind of go back to those days when you were in the position of a lot of our audiences right now. So it's like, 70, 79, you were what we would now call an IDIP, an independent study, and you put together was photography. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I get this. Photography and
makeup.
Theatrical makeup. Right. So kind of rewind your mind back then.
Sure.
Did you ever sort of envision where you are now? Was this the plan? What was going through your mind all those years ago?
Well, if there was a crystal ball that would tell me what my life would be, I probably would have run the other way, because it's been pretty overwhelming, but pretty amazing. But mostly, I grew up in Chicago, and I went to college in Wisconsin for 6 months. Then I went to school in Arizona for a year, that all the kids did, and then I came home at the end of the year and told my mom I wanted to drop out, and she said, "You can't. You got to go to school." But Mom, I don't know what I want. It's boring. There was no iPhones back then. We couldn't like zone out doing things. And I never thought I was particularly smart. I never got good grades. I realize now that creative people don't learn the same way other people. And my mother basically said to me, forget about what you want to do in your life. If today's your birthday, you could do anything. And I said, I want to go to the department store and play with makeup. She goes, why don't you be a makeup artist? I said, I don't want to go to beauty school. And someone told me about this small college in Boston called Emerson. And my dad and I flew up. They didn't have a major I wanted. And honestly, I saw the Magic Pan Cafe. I'd never seen an outdoor restaurant. And I went to Emerson because of the outdoor restaurant. Now, Emerson had the interdisciplinary major, which I still don't know what that meant, but it meant that I could make up my major. So I studied makeup. And by the way, I got into Emerson 3 days before it started. It was not hard to get in back then.
Well, yeah, well, it's a little bit more difficult than these days.
A lot more. And so I put together a major of theatrical makeup, minored in photography because I always loved photography. And there was nothing. There was one class, a guy named Jack Stein, which I signed up for. And I just any class I was doing, I poured my heart and soul into it, not to learn what they were teaching, but mostly what would be interesting for me. Because when I got to Emerson, I found all these other kids that were like me. We were creative, we were spontaneous, we weren't the traditional. And so I would take a film class, and deciding what film I was going to produce would be on what character I wanted to do the hair and makeup. And then I wrote the play. So I've always done everything backwards, by the way. So Emerson really allowed me to just like be who I was, who I didn't know I was going to be. And I am forever grateful to Emerson.
Oh, that's great. That's really great to hear. So I kind of want to just think about, as Michelle has said, we like to call you a serial entrepreneur, which is, I don't know if I'm sure you've been called that. But I just want to kind of, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs, here, and it's a big part of what we try to inspire people to do at the BCE. But if you can kind of walk us through everything, I mean, obviously you have the original line, you got Evolution 18, now we're on to Jones Road. But is there one particular, how about this? Which one was the most difficult to get off the ground?
So I left Emerson and I got a job as a waitress because I needed to pay my rent. And I had one goal in mind, because I'm always someone that thinks about what if. Like those words are really important to me. What if? And my goal was to move to New York, to be a makeup artist for the magazines, models, and to get a Vogue cover. So I poured my heart and soul into all of that. And it took me 7 years. I got a Vogue cover of Naomi Campbell's first American Vogue cover. And then I had an idea for a lipstick. And I met a chemist accidentally. And I said, oh, this could be something. People might like it. I never thought, oh, let me be an entrepreneur. Let me have a business. I just thought, this is really interesting. This is cool. And I made a lipstick with this chemist. And, it was, okay, we'll sell it for $15. You get half, I get half. And that's how I started this business, 30 something years ago. So nothing is easy. We know that. But if you love what you're doing, it's your passion.
It's kind of research you. It's funny, that story of you going down to the store and talking to the chemist, right? It's so like fascinating. What was that exchange, and how were you able to communicate your vision to the chemist, right? Because there's that scientific aspect that I love.
Right. But it's funny because I didn't go there to talk to the chemist. All these things that have happened in my life, I have been open. I'm someone who likes people. So I was on a shoot for a magazine, shooting, I don't remember what the story was even. And there was a chemist behind the counter. And I always say hi, who are you? Where do you live? Do you have kids? I ask all these questions. I think politically, you're not supposed to answer now, to ask now, but I always ask these questions, which is why I also have a podcast, because I'm very nosy in people's stories. And we started talking, and he said, oh, I'm here, I'm doing this. And, I do this thing on the side. I make these lipsticks. And I said, I have a lipstick I want to make. I don't even know how to do it. And he says, I'll make it for you. I said, I'm looking for something that looks like lips, that doesn't smell like my mom's lipstick, that's not greasy, but it's not dry. And he said, I can make it for you. And he made it. And we went back and forth with the formula. And then I thought, oh, all I need is one color. And then I realized everyone has different color lips. So I talked to the chemist about 10 different color lips. I didn't get involved in what's in the product scientifically. I didn't ask him. I just cared about how it performed because I was a makeup artist. And then I started giving them to friends, giving them to models, to editors. Now they're called influencers. And now there's teams of people figuring that stuff out. And one day I was having lunch with a friend who was a beauty editor at a magazine. And she said, wow, this is so cool. Can I write about it? I'm like, why would you want to write about this little business? Now I know it's called PR. She wrote about it. We got a lot of calls. And we had a business that I would sell these lipsticks to people that called in. And then one day I was at a party and I met someone and I thanked her for inviting me. And I said, what do you do? She said, I'm the cosmetics buyer at Bergdorf Goodman. I said, oh, I have this little project I'm working on. So I launched Bobbi Brown Cosmetics at Bergdorf Goodman. Not strategic, just maybe opportunist.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I guess, yeah, opportunist, that sounds a little, I think
it sounds, yeah, maybe there's a word, but yeah. I see possibility.
Yeah.
And I see positivity where people see problems. I always see solutions. I'm very solution oriented.
And then it just sort of, I don't want to say took off, right? But I guess if the from that point to the peak of the first line was about how much time are we talking about from that point?
Well, at the same time, so I was, in my early 30s. I had already been a freelance makeup artist, and I moved to the suburbs, got married, started having children. My oldest now is 30 and a half. And after 4 years, Estee Lauder called, and we sold the company to Estee Lauder between 4 or 5 years. I mean, now you look back and I tell that story, people can't believe it, but it's true. And I stayed part of the corporation as an employee for 22 years. Not the easiest thing, by the way, for someone that doesn't like rules and regulations, but I did it. I had the great experience, and I was an intrapreneur, which I didn't make that term up. Someone else told me. I became the beauty editor of the Today Show because I met the executive producer's grandmother at a book signing. I became, Yahoo Beauty reached out to create a digital beauty magazine. I wrote 9 books. By the way, I don't know how to type. I don't know anything about, my computer. I'm great on Instagram. But you know what? I figure things out. And I have people around me that are good at things I'm not good at.
And did you just, I mean, if I can almost get into your head, where did you develop that skill, right? To sort of say, I'm not necessarily going to be the lead on this, but that leadership. How did you develop that?
Well, I only know one thing, and that's to be myself and to be authentic, and be nice. And so I didn't realize that those personality traits really help you, get along. And now it's a trend to be authentic. But I think, I grew up in Chicago, hardworking family. My dad a lawyer, my mom a homemaker. But I used to watch my Papa Sam, who was this, 5'2" Russian Jew that, came over to this country and really was the ultimate entrepreneur. He ended up having a big car dealership. And I watched him. He just did what he did. And I think he was my big role model. And then, he'd come home at night and, he'd be a family guy. And I'm probably a little bit of Papa Sam.
Yeah. There's always that role model, right? In that immediate family that kind of shows you the way.
Yeah.
In many ways. But if I can, I want to just talk about what you're saying, you're how ahead of the curve you were. So that sort of all natural look, I imagine you as being a makeup artist, you realized that was a hole, in the market. And I was watching an old clip of you on the Today Show, and you were doing this makeup, and they had this sort of these three beautiful models. The first two were white women, and the last woman was this beautiful dark skinned woman. And I just could, and you're saying like, listen, with these lips, you got to do this and got to do that. And I could just think about that level of representation and the sensitivity to different colors is so in vogue now, but it wasn't so much back then, was it?
Well, yeah. So, well, thank you for that. I mean, years ago, I was on Oprah doing makeovers, and I always thought about representation. It was like, it's not brilliant. It was just like, duh, of course. I would have a woman of a certain age. I would have, a white girl. I might have a blonde or a brunette, and I would have a person of color. And then, sometimes with three models, but then what about the Latino girl? Or what about this? What about the Asian? So, I always kind of tried to figure it out, and often I would look for mixed people because they can do two things. So it was not brilliant. It was just, of course, I'm a teacher, so I'm teaching someone how to choose a blush that looks good on them. Well, guess what? It's going to be different for me than it is for someone with your coloring. And so I was on, Oprah, and Oprah just said, I don't understand how a short Jewish girl, white girl knows how to do this. She said, I only wear, and she mentioned the three colors, completely sold out. So, I also knew the power of A, teaching, and B, certain people were very helpful in this, building my early career and really teaching people who I was.
Yeah, that's so heavy and so simple at the same time. But if I can, I guess I want to plug the new venture, make sure we talk about that.
Sure.
Because as a business, right, Jones Road is set up fundamentally different than anything you've done before. So what's the thinking? What was the philosophy behind the new brand now that you're sort of free and clear from, the Estee Lauder relationship?
Well, I left Bobbi Brown Cosmetics in 2016 after working there 22 years. And when we sold the company, I had a 20-year non-compete because I was like, I'll be in my 60s. Here I am, 63. So when I left the brand, I had 4 years, and I'm like, I don't have a hobby. I'm like, I do businesses. I work, I like the collaboration. So I had to figure out what to do. I went to school, got my degree as a health coach because I've always been obsessed with health and wellness, and realizing the better I eat, the positive lifestyle things I do to myself, I'm gonna have more energy. Because by the way, when you're a working mom, you work all day, you're exhausted, you come home, guess what? I can't sit on the couch. I got to figure out how to make dinner and how to give baths and how to do all those things. I wasn't good with homework, so I always had, a manny or a nanny that were in school that were, somehow to be teachers or something. But I needed the energy. So I went back to school after I left the brand and got my degree as a health coach from a great digital school in New York called IIN. And then I had to get permission, but I got permission to launch Evolution 18, which is a wellness brand. And so during that time, I had no idea about going back into the industry. I was like, I was done. But I became a makeup artist again, because honestly, what I love more than anything is makeup. So I was doing makeup for Evolution 18, trying to find an agent. No one wanted to represent, a 60-year-old. They didn't know what to do with me, a 60 plus person. So I'm like, all right, I'll just do it myself. I got asked to go to India to be the keynote speaker at the Indian makeup show. Out of all the makeup artists, I was shocked. I'm a no makeup person. And in India, it's so over the top. I did that. And then when I got back, I started to think about makeup, and I got a call from Masterclass. They hired me to do a makeup masterclass, which was epic for me. And during that time, I started just using natural products and just saying, I don't like them. And so I said, I wonder what I could do. Hired a product development person, and I knew it would not be easy to launch the company, but I launched Jones Road, the name I found on Waze. It just sounded cool to me. the day my non-compete was up, a week before the presidential election, and it's just been 6 weeks, and I've never had so much fun in my life.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I did not realize it's so
It's new.
young. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you came right out that non-compete. A 20-year non-compete is a
Yeah.
long time.
Oh yeah. I have a chain, by the way. I bought a chain when I left the brand, and it was an ampersand sign, and on the bottom I wrote 10.20. Because I wore it, with my children right next to my heart. And I knew, I was done. So.
I saw that article. I love that so much that you put listen, as like a hip hop, like that you had a chain around your neck, like I'm about to be done. I loved it so much. So I got one quick thing, and then we're going to open up the questions. They're starting to pour in. But I mean, I have my own. I'll leave that for. But I think, how do you sort of view? I mean, now you kind of jump back into it. This sort of all natural representation, not only in your industry, but it's like the cool catchphrase, diversity and inclusion is everywhere. How do you view it? Because you've kind of been living in that space since day one.
Unfortunately, we had to get to where we're going in a very intense way. Like, honestly, everything we've gone through from, the pandemic to Black Lives Matters to everything. It's like, you know what? These things have to happen. They're not comfortable, and they're not easy, and they're not good, but it's like, I hope that everyone is going to learn from all of these things what's important. I've always lived my life that way. I've always made sure that my family, my lifestyle, all those things were intact. And I always made sure that I, had people around me from different ethnicities and, always represented. And I think that now it's a hard way to get to where we should be going, and I know it's not for now, but I want to hear about the hip hop festival, because I'm like a hip hop fanatic.
I heard.
I even danced on stage with Flo Rida once. So.
Wait, what?
And salt and pepper. And by the way, have you ever seen a Jewish girl dance?
Listen, don't sell yourself short. I have seen many a good one. I could go on and on about the sort of hip hop thing. I want to have that conversation, but I know your time is limited, and I want to make sure everybody else jumps in here. I am going to I have one thing at the end, but I'll have a request at the end. I'll let everybody else go first. So Robin, are you here? I think she's keeping an eye on the question.
Yep. Can you hear
Robin,
me?
You want to just kind of throw them at Bobbi, and we can just get to it.
Sure. Hi again, Bobbi.
Hi.
So I have a question from Mineola. Looking back, do you think it was the best decision to sell your company, or knowing what you know now and the massive potential it had to grow, would you have kept it your company? And how do you know when it's the best time to sell or keep your company?
Well, for me, it was the best time, because I knew that it was never going to be so, successful without them. I did not want to do the day-to-day, and we had business partners that we did not like. So it was a perfect way out. And I wouldn't go back to any of it, because every hard thing I went through, I learned, and I'm only who I am today because I went through those intense things. And hopefully by the time I write a business book, I'll remember them. But, but I have no regrets. And, if I didn't sell, not just the company, I sold my name. So I sold my name for cosmetics, and my husband and I have been able to send probably 20 people to college. So I don't regret it for a second.
Great, thanks. Harrison asks, as you have your hand in many different entrepreneurial baskets, how important is diversification and expanding your horizons as a businesswoman and creative?
Well, it's, first of all, it's everything. You have to continue to grow. You have to continue to be a sponge. You have to continue to be part of what's happening. And I feel so lucky and grateful, because launching the first business, there was a whole set of rules and opportunities, but launching this business, it's a completely different game. And it's so interesting, and it's very different. So I'm just happy I have this opportunity to try new things. And, I know it has to be done now, and things don't stress me out the way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just jump in real quick, because this is perfect. I slip in my request. Is there ever going to be a chance to have some Jones Road products for men? Have you ever thought about that, because I think about in this sort of more enlightened days, right? How come there's no products for me? And you know, the gummies and all that. I want to, you know, I'm down. I want to be a customer, Bobby.
Well, first of all, who said gummies aren't for you? It's not just for girls, you know. So, and I have a lot of guys that, you know, are Miracle Balm that has no color. I mean, my son, who, you know, was skiing in the outdoors and he was so intense, he's like, Mom, I need more Miracle Balm. A lot of guys say they use it on their beards, they use it on their brows, they use it for dry skin. I got to remember to bring John Kovac some. I promised him. So no, first of all, guys don't wear makeup. Guys don't need makeup. There are plenty of brands for men, but guess what? Guys need to take care of themselves from the inside out, just like women do. So, and you want to look good on a Zoom and you want to be your best self. It's health and wellness. I mean, look at how good Mick Jagger looks for his age. And then look at how some of the other Stones look, you know, so.
That's true. That's very true. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Robin. We got another. I know we
All
have.
right, sure. From Ashley B. Thank you for everything you have done for the wellness and beauty industry to make women feel like their best selves, and we'll add men. Where do you see the wellness industry and the connection it has to mental health in regards to beauty from the inside out in the future?
You know what? It is such a full circle. All of the things you just mentioned, doing makeup on someone and they feel better. They feel better on the inside. Certainly taking better care of your skin, hydrating, eating more vegetables, less bad stuff. You look better. So it's, you know, it's very functional, like the word functional medicine, functional everything. It's just a big circle that, yes, all these things make sense. And I'm not saying, you know, now there's a whole thing in health and wellness about not being so crazy nutty, like, you know, not eating this, not doing this, being keto, being this, that's going out. Now it's about intuitive. So guys, what is intuitive? It's just thinking what you need. And it's being an entrepreneur of yourself, like being an entrepreneur of your business. So that's just, you know, what I believe in.
Great, thanks. And Ryan asks, since so many celebrities are starting their own makeup brands like Millie Bobby Brown and Kylie Jenner, do you think this is a welcome change, or are you worried about saturating the market with people who aren't trained in makeup?
I am not worried. I find, as someone that likes to empower other women, other business women, and my podcast, which is on iHeart, is called Beyond the Beauty. And I interview, my first guest was Kris Jenner. I've interviewed all these different, you know, people that have beauty companies. And I just think everyone is different and it's a big world. And I never think that someone is going to cannibalize what I do. I find that I have a step above because I happen to have experience and I do know formula. And I have, you know, I have my creative brain, and there's room for everyone. And I don't think it's bad for the industry. And I hope that a lot of young entrepreneurs, especially ones that are trying to figure out how to support their families, are able to do their own businesses. So, you know, the more the merrier.
Great. And you've answered this one a little bit, but a little bit more on how you stay passionate, turning to something you love into a business, and how do you stay away from burnout and making it feel like work?
Well,
P.S. She says she loves the makeup studio from her time at Emerson. Thank you.
Well, how I get rid of burnout is I take care of myself. Right now, my office is like 5 minutes from the house. So I get an extra hour in the morning to exercise or do laundry or whatever I need to do in the morning, call someone. This morning, I walked and talked to my best friend on the phone for an hour, which was really nice. And so I take care of myself, and I also do things I love, and I hire people that I really enjoy spending time with. I mean, you know, this is my posse. These are my friends. You know, I have my older friends that we're the same age, and I have my posse that keep me, you know, really engaged. And, you know, if something's not working, I try to fix it. That's just the end of it.
Yeah. Wes, how much time do we have?
I think we got I think we're about like 10 more minutes, give or take.
Do you want me to continue with the questions?
If I can just jump in real quick,
sure.
Just maybe think about something, Bobby, is that the idea I think about sort of in the what Ashley's question about mental health and wellness is that there's not talk like in the Black community, right? The barber is also like your therapist, right?
Mhm.
The person you can talk to. I guess I'm just seeing, maybe it's a statement in what you think about the makeup artist, right? To that woman, it's such an intimate relationship. Was that the natural jump into the health and wellness? Because it makes more sense after that answer to me. I just want to make sure that I'm not crazy.
Well, the cool, fun thing about being a makeup artist is you do get to see people totally stripped down. You know, you see them, and I've worked with celebrities, I've worked with, you know, people in politics and power women, all sorts of things. And you start to hear what they're going through. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I remember I did Diane Sawyer once. She's like, I'm so tired. I just got back from Cuba interviewing Castro. And you're like, oh my God, like it's so crazy. You know, Michelle Obama, I got to do her makeup when she was on her way doing something. And she's like, you got 15 minutes to do my makeup. I'm like, you are kidding me. So, you know, all these interesting things, you get to be part of it. And because of my nature, yes, I'm there to help. I'm there to make you look better, to feel better so you can go do your job. So yes, it's the mental part of it. And it was only just what you put on the face to make you feel healthy. What you put in your body became after. So, and it is kind of all together, by the way.
Yeah, that does make total sense. Can I just ask? I know we have
Yeah.
time. What was that like? Like, you know, being again so close to somebody like a Diane or you know, even a Michelle Obama. It's got to be pretty stressful saying you got 15 minutes, make me look good for the world.
Yeah, Michelle was stressful because I never did her makeup before. And, you know, it takes, especially with a woman of color, it takes me a minute to figure out what foundations work because I want her to look like natural, but I don't want her to just pour something on. So it is stressful. You know, during the Obama years, I was really lucky. I did Dr. Jill Biden's makeup for both inaugurations. I actually was in the motorcade because I had to be there. I was with this group of people in this motorcade. I had just done, you know, touched up the vice president, touched up, you know, Dr. Biden. And I'm in this motorcade, Bobbi Brown, makeup artist from Emerson. And I look around, I don't know who's in my car. This one guy says to me, excuse me, who are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm Jill Biden's makeup artist. And I said, who are you? He said, I'm your Secretary of Defense. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. Like, I've just had these weird situations. You know, I see Obama and he's like, hey, B Square, how are you doing? Because I was always around. And so being a makeup artist has been like incredible. And, you know, I always get nervous, but I just, you know what, people are the same. Honestly, people are the same. And if they're not nice people, it's because there's something going on with them and they're insecure. You meet a lot of like well-known people and, you know, the bigger ones are nicer than the little ones.
Yeah, so true. So true. But yeah, Robin, I know I'll get out the way. I know we have some more coming in.
Sure. So what is a key piece of advice that you've found for young female entrepreneurs that want to also be leaders in the creative economy?
Well, first of all, don't take money that you have to pay back if you can't help it, because so many people get themselves into debt. They're like, I have an idea, but I can't get it done without raising money. So you plan, you raise money, and all of a sudden, like, it's, you know, a year later and you're in debt. My advice is figure out how you could do it scrappy. Be scrappy. I am still scrappy. And I remember working, I mentor a lot of young entrepreneurs. I have a couple, you know, Black founder entrepreneurs that during the Black Lives Matter I reached out to, and I'm helping them, and they're both doing so amazing. I'm really proud of them. But my advice is like, okay, the good thing about being a woman is we could do a million things at once. So maybe it's your side hustle. Don't quit your job if you can't afford it, and figure out how you could like show people the product and get their opinion on it. And then you don't have to spend money, you know, doing all these testing. So just figure out scrappy ways to do it. And you don't take money until you know you need it and have to scale.
Great, thanks. What would you say is your biggest drive?
My biggest drive is I get bored really easily. And I like doing really fun, interesting things. I guess I don't want to say I'm an adrenaline junkie because I'm not, but I like things that are different. that are just different,
Yeah.
creative things or whatever. I like new things.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in, Rob? So I think
Sure.
if I can go back to the question about the financing, Bobby.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a chicken and the egg, right? Is that, hey, here's 10 million to get started, and you're saying no, but playing devil's advocate, and you're saying, oh, be scrappy, but where do I scrap? I'm not an alchemist. It's hard
Right.
to turn something into nothing. So how do you kind of like,
Well, first of all, what is it? Okay, what is it? Is it, I have a girl that's for 2 years sends me emails about her quote unquote special bra company that she's raised money for, and she's got a business plan. I'm like, all right, send it to me. I'll tell you what I think. She goes, oh, I haven't built it yet. I'm like, you got to have it first. Like whatever your business is, you got to have it first. So I'm very unusual. I know that. I never took a nickel from anyone for any company I ever did. The first company, my husband and I literally emptied our bank accounts of $10,000. That's how we started it. With our business partners, we both put in the same thing. My dad asked if we needed money, and, I said no, because we didn't at the time, but so we never did that. And now my husband is my investor, and we have a very small money into Jones Road. People would not believe it. I have one amazing girl that does all the creative, she's a year out of college. I'm looking for a video editor, shooter. Maybe Emerson could, send some people this way, but I really believe in doing things simple. Like I don't have a marketing department. I have 2 girls in PD, and, we'll expand as we need, and it's going much quicker than we thought because it's going better than we thought. But yeah, I mean, $10 million, come on, first of all, who's going to give you $10 million unless you have something?
True. And you're going to get a lot of submissions after that quest for videographers. Just
Yeah.
Yes, please.
We also have a platform called Emerge, Bobby. I'll share it with
Yeah.
Jen. We can get you on there to connect
Cool.
with the students and alums. How many more questions, guys? It's 12:43. I want to make sure I
do another like 5 minutes, and then we'll just let Bobby say her final words and get him out in 10. Is that
okay.
cool, is that all right with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so how different was the build and launch of Jones Road compared to Bobbi Brown?
Oh my God, you can't even compare. So, Bobbi Brown, I just started telling people about, and it's the word of mouth spread. I got into Bergdorf Goodman. I told the story, and then they said, oh, we're also parent company is Neiman Marcus. So it was doing well in Bergdorf. We went to Neiman's. I became the beauty editor of the Today Show, which really blew up Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. And we used the press, and then we advertised. This new company, it was very simple. First of all, it was during the pandemic. I sat there on my Zoom. I did Wall Street Journal interview. I did the Today Show, and I called my friend Elvis Duran and did Elvis Duran. So those are my 3 launch things. And now I'm starting to do more of the press. We have a digital marketing person. So, that's something we didn't have back then. And, unfortunately right now, when I'm on a TV show, sales are through the roof. I did Wendy Williams last week. It was the best day we ever had. Wendy Williams, who knew? So I was on right after Fat Joe. So I thought that was so cool.
But I do have to say this, and I know we're running time, but I just want to, I think this. So when I think maybe Robin was like, oh, did you know Bobby's like a big hip hop sort of fan? I said, it makes sense because I just think, Black people have loved Bobbi Brown Cosmetics for the reasons we talked about before. So that's not a surprise that you would do very well with Wendy.
Yeah, and Oprah. And by the way, my dad's name is James Brown, just coincidentally. And you see my shirt? Like, Biggie is by far my favorite rapper. Not only that, I met his daughter on Instagram, and she came in and she was on my podcast, and she's got a new line. So, I think now being an entrepreneur and connecting to all these people on social we never could have done that. We'd have to write letters or get an introduction, but you know, as I said before, I mean, if anyone feels like it, it's really embarrassing. But Flo Rida put his gold chains on me. You can actually go to YouTube and see it.
Okay, I'm about to Google that.
Yeah,
Right. We get
right.
off. Buckle up.
And Bobbi, your dog's name is?
Is Biggie. I do.
Yeah.
I have a dog. Well, that's her. Unfortunately, my husband calls her Big Baby, and I call her Biggie. So she's got two names. But
What does
she's
that
Biggie.
say? What is your sweatshirt? Is that say it was all a dream?
It was all a dream. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Read Word Up magazine. Don't get me
Yeah.
started.
Right.
But yeah, sorry, Robin. Let's get to the last. I'll try to be quiet.
The last. Wow, there's so many good ones. So
Oh wait, my kids won't let me drink at their weddings because I love to dance so much.
Yeah, I think we got a couple more. We can have room for a couple more, Robin.
I do too, Bobbi. I have the same problem with dancing. Let's see. Have you ever experienced inequality while working in business? And do you think the situation is changing or getting better?
I have many times experienced groups of men basically telling me my idea wasn't good, and they know because they're experienced. I don't know how I figured this out, but I learned early on it wasn't worth fighting with them. I just said, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. That's a really good idea. But then I left and never did it. So, you know, yes, there's always, I just don't pay attention. Do you know how many people like were not nice to me in you know, different situations because I was just this young, short makeup artist carrying a bag, and you know, before I was famous, and now that I'm well known, those same people, you know, I don't forget, you know, I don't forget. So I just don't let it bother me because it's more their problem than mine.
Great answer. And along those lines, somebody wants to know how do you deal with customers who aren't happy with your product?
Well, we're looking for a customer service representative because, you know, people have questions all the time, and we try to show them if something's not working, how it can work. You know, unfortunately, we do take it back, but often people don't know how to use it. So one woman was having trouble with an eyeshadow and it was smearing all over. So on Instagram, I wrote back to her, I said, are you putting it on your over eye cream? She goes, I am. I said, don't. Try it again. And she tried it again. She goes, oh yeah, it works much better now. So it's just about education. And also, not everyone likes the no makeup look. Some people still like the contour heavy, and that's fine. You know, I only want people that like what I do.
Well, Bobbi, we all love your makeup here.
Oh, thanks.
We love Jones Road. It's amazing.
I tried to sell Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. I thought it was a brilliant idea at Emerson in the bookstore, and I couldn't get Barnes and Noble to go with it, but I thought it was
I bet they would. Idea. Jones Road is a whole different, if anyone
That's
hasn't
right.
seen it, it comes in a cool bag too. I love the bag.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. So I think we've asked most of the questions, guys. So does anyone else have a last question they'd like to pose?
Yeah, I think.
So I just thought of something. I'm going to give you guys a discount code, and I'll have to run in the other room and tell them. So it'll be FF, friends and family, 30, no, 25 I'm allowed to do. FF 25 Emerson. Okay. So if you want to buy something, put that code in. Jesse, I know you're on. Will you tell the kids, please? FF Emerson, and you get 25 off. How's that?
Oh,
yeah, and everyone should try it. Truly, it's for all ages, all colors.
Yeah, and sure. I'll throw it out for Evolution 18 too. So any wellness things.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then I would also just like to add, if you can watch Bobbi on Instagram, because I watched you put it on your son's friend's daughter, Nancy.
Probably not my son's. My son's only 30, so I don't know. Anyone that walks
whoever
by,
Nancy is, she's beautiful.
Yeah. Anyone that walks by, I'm like, come here. Yeah.
And so here, well, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Bob. I did have one. I had a question sent to me that somebody who couldn't come, and it makes sense. My wife has also been my business partner, So I'm almost very curious because I think in the gym, like when we go to the gym, we see your name and your husband's name. And I've had students be like, who is that guy, with Bobby Brown? And do my research, I've finally figured out. But what is that as a married man and somebody who works with his wife? What's that been like? Because you guys have been a unit since
32 years together. So first of all, when my husband and I committed to Emerson to donate, they showed me all the different spaces. And when I walked in the gym, true story, there was a basketball team playing basketball and hip hop music. I said, I want the gym, like my friend Dennis Leary got this, and all these different guys picked out the whatever, the student lounge. I'm like, no, I want the gym. So that's how my name got on the Bobbi Brown and Stephen Plofker. Look, easiest, no, working with your husband. But amazing because he's the business guy. He's the one that, I'm the emotional, like, oh my God, this could happen. He's like, calm down. Like everyone's got a role. And there's times, yes, where it's, kind of aggravates me because he says, I don't think it's a good idea, and I get aggravated, but you work it out, you figure it out and you work it out. So, we could talk offline one day over a cocktail, and we might have different things that we're going to talk about now, but he's my partner, and I can't do anything. I would not have had Jones Road without him.
Yeah.
He did it. He pushed me.
Yeah. That's with my wife, it's the complete opposite, right? Like, well, actually, no, it's the same way. I'm you and she's your husband are kind of keeping things grounded while I'm bugging out. But I just think it's such a wonderful thing that, well, I guess honestly that, it's all about, I mean, you're the ones with the ideas, you're forward. I think some of the comments were like, who is this man who's kind of trying to hitch his wagon to Bobby? It wasn't really what it was. So it's really nice to have that dynamic as you think about like the president and now the first lady, this idea of, hey, she's the doctor, she's the more educated one.
Yeah.
She goes first, or even with Kamala and her husband, like, I'm out, like she's the boss.
My husband, he went to Harvard. He's an attorney, not practicing. He's a real estate developer. He's a business guy. He's, I don't know, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not I'm an emotional guy. You need someone that's not emotional in the relationship to say, okay, let's talk about this. Let's make sense. Down boy, that's me. I got to get down girl.
Right. I think we have a couple minutes left before we're gonna transition to our first one, but I just maybe give you if there's some final thoughts, Bobbi, that you want to say. I mean, I think this is so inspirational. I think it's going to resonate for a long time because there's new versions of you, really in our BCE program. And, I don't know if there's just something you want to kind of say to them to kind of put a battery in their back in these trying times.
Right. Well, first of all, I didn't just get here yesterday. Like I was a makeup artist. I did things for free. I did anything I could do to experience and to learn. And you know what? I worked. I got up in the morning. I had a place to go. I didn't just think I'm all that. So it's a lot of life experiences that made me who I am. And it's hard work, and not everything works. There's plenty of things I have done that have not worked. And it's about what you do with every situation and information. And it's how you make that shift. How you say, okay, this is not working. I don't believe in failure. I believe in things that have lessons that say, okay, that didn't work. Let's do it differently, or let's do something else. And never be afraid to ask for help, and never be afraid to just tell yourself, I need a break, stop, and just go in bed for a couple of days, go watch TV, go do something else, give your time to do something. If it's not working, don't just stop.
Yeah. And actually there's one more question that sort of popped up in that last round, but this is one of our faculty members asked, America is so youth oriented. How do we start recognizing the value of older women? And I think you keep making these sort of jokes about your age, but I don't think anybody believes you are old as you say.
Well, first of all, I don't think I'm old. I mean, I'm 63 years old, and I think, at 70 something, I'll be doing something too, and 80 something. And, I always had this fantasy, like, I don't believe in injecting things in your face. I believe in health and wellness, and don't do Botox. I don't do filler, any of that stuff, which so many people do. I do lasers, anything that can improve, whatever. But for me, it's like, yes, I am a certain age. I'm not going to pretend. I don't like people that pretend what they're not. But I also, one of my favorite movies is The Intern with Robert De Niro. I don't know if you remember seeing that, where Anne Hathaway thought she was this hot shit, whatever, and her whole life falls apart. And she gets Robert De Niro to come in to teach her all the things. I've been looking for my own intern. I'd love to have a 70, 80-year-old guy in here. I've asked a couple ex-CEOs and they laugh and they say, yeah, maybe, and nothing happens. But you know what? I think that right now there's so many opportunities. It's not just for people of color. It's not just for women. It's for anyone. It's for, my dad, who was a retired lawyer, became a children's book author at 70. And now at 85 years old, he's writing a screenplay. He's, just hired a social media manager, the Flights of Marceau. He does Zooms every day to different schools to read this amazing work of art to the kids. You just keep going and there's opportunity out there. It's all in your mind.
Yeah. I just for the record, I did not say that you were old. I say I don't believe you are even as old as you claim, because you don't look it, you don't act like it. And I think I want to be like you. I want to be 83. Still,
I'm not 83.
When you are.
Oh, when I am 83. All right.
When you are 83, I want to be what you're going to be like.
Yeah.
Bobbi, I just want to thank you so much. And just two things. We are officially claiming you as a BCE. You are now down with our team. You set the stage for us in ways, 30 years ahead. So you're now part of, our unofficial alum. We're gonna nice little award we're gonna shoot over to you. But I want to thank you so much, and I really hope that once, hopefully, we become a healthier place and the pandemic is over, that you can come back.
Yeah.
To Boston, we can have those cocktails for real.
Yeah, I promise. And you're in Brooklyn now, no? Or
I am
in
Brooklyn.
You're in Brooklyn. Well, my kids live in Brooklyn. I go all the time.
Well, listen, give me I'm happy to hang out. I'm not too far from Montclair. I would love to do it, but this has been such a pleasure.
And good luck with this whole festival. I'd love to be part of it. I think what you're doing is amazing, and you're my people. So thank you.
Excellent.
And Bobbi, I just want to say one more thing from the chat. People are thanking you, clapping. We're not live. This is a big, everybody's so inspired by having you here, and thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah, talk to me on justbobbi.com. It's DOTCOM, by the way. I kind of talk back, so.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. I look forward to the next one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.